Hey, Kingsley. My name is Justin. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was fortunate enough to actually see a couple of these episodes, and dude, you're outstanding, extremely captivating, and entirely menacing. And I know you're going to be playing a hero later this summer as one of the many Kens in the Barbie movie. But I got to know right off the bat, what excites you most about playing a villain?
That's different to anything I've played before. Uh, yeah, it's just it was a new um, yeah, it just felt like a challenge, I guess, to try and build Gravik in a way that felt, real at the same time.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be speaking with Ali Selim later today, in regards to working on this series. How did you and him work together with kind of building out this character?
Oh, yeah, we spoke a lot about Gravik's like public and private persona and like what his motivations were and just how to layer him as much as we could and to, as the scenes and different like rewrites and stuff were happening, how to keep him like straight, like to keep him on the same
Hmm.
track. Um, so yeah, we'd share a lot of ideas and I think psychologically speaking, the history between him and Talos, Gravik and Talos, and Gravik and Fury was something that we kept coming back to.
Right.
And that feeling of, I guess, pain really of like feeling let down by them, and the question really of like what happens when you don't trust anyone anymore. Like
Hmm.
what does that do to someone? Like what does it do to someone? Like how much pain and suffering has Gravik felt to get him to a place where he's able to do that to other people, and
Right.
trying to have real conversations about like what it is that motivates people to behave like that, so that he would hopefully feel real.
Grounded. Yeah, grounded. It sounds sounds very real. Marvel has had a history of memorable and compelling villains. You got Loki, Baron Zemo, Killmonger, and of course Thanos. In what ways do you think Gravik stands out and adds a fresh dynamic to the roster of Marvel villains?
Loki, is he a villain or does he turn into like a hero or is he an
I
anti?
guess so. Like that's sort of the, I guess he's the anti-hero if you want. Like my I was talking with my other co-hosts, they said the same thing, but I'm like, Loki is, Loki, right? So,
Yeah, no, there was a time like early on I was like, is he a villain or is he an anti-hero? Like with
mhm,
it's like do we how much are we going to understand his point of view and like how much of his behavior are we going to try and justify, and then it was like this is not possible, he's killing innocent people and using the plight of the scrolls as his reasoning, but I don't think it's really it didn't feel substantial or complicated enough to like end it there. I think it we had to create another layer, which was that he feels no remorse for anyone or anything. That this is like a this has to be a personality disorder. And I also think functionally for this show, what it needed was a character to hold a high degree of tension and to really
mm,
feel like there was someone who Nick Fury was coming up, like someone who needed to be put down or locked
right.
up, and that like any kind of feelings of sentimentality or like any kind of religious connotations were just they weren't going to work. We
Right.
didn't have the time to explore that properly, and that he just needed to be like a straight up killer, and that
Mhm,
his feelings of I would say to Ali sometimes I was like, I don't know if this guy likes anyone. I don't
mhm.
think he likes anyone. I don't think he hates himself so much that the only way he can feel anything is to see other people feel and experience pain and suffering. And the hope is, I don't think he, maybe he's giving too much away. I don't think he wants to live. I think he hopes that someone will put him down, and
Right.
testing everyone. Like, why do people behave like that? Like he's testing everyone around him.
Hmm.
It's not about blowing up the town square. It's about seeing Fury see him blow up the town square.
It's very personal for him. And, You know, again, like I said, you're outstanding in this show. It's so captivating. I can't wait to see more of the mystery of your character unravel as the episodes go on. Thank you so much, Kingsley, for taking the time to join me here on the Geekcentric podcast. I hope you have a great day, man.
Too.
Bye. Hey, Ali, my name is Justin. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing great. I was fortunate enough to watch a couple episodes from Secret Invasion, and I'm digging the vibe. I'm loving the grounded, mature. It feels very mature for the MCU. And I kind of want to start right there with my first question. You know, you have an extensive history working in television. I wanted to know what made you want to jump into the MCU and dabble in this expansive universe.
Well, I think Marvel today is the pinnacle of storytelling in show business in Hollywood, and anybody would be a fool not to want to go play in that playground with such accomplished people as Kevin Feige.
Right.
So it was. I don't like the phrase "no brainer" because it suggests that I don't have a brain or somebody doesn't have a brain, but it was a no brainer to get into this world. And you know, just as a director, it's fun to have every toy that you could ever imagine available to you, because that's how Marvel explores their stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like an endless sandbox, right? Like you're just kind of picking up toys and mixing and mingling, and you know, you get to find the balance of how you can incorporate all those elements. And I gotta say, this cast is extremely stacked. Like we have a lot of excellent talent on here. And I actually just had the chance to talk with Kingsley. And I kind of actually want to focus on that his character of Gravik. Working with Kingsley, how did you develop, you know, his character with him? And also, was there any highlights for you personally with working with him on this series?
Kingsley and I talked a lot because I think it's a very challenging character. I think it's a very new exploration for him to go into villain land. I think that, you know, in superhero movies, the villains are a little more binary. They're bad and Nick Fury is good, or all bad and all good. I think Kingsley was more interested in something more nuanced. And for me, I don't want to get too academic because I want you to think that I'm fun, but I find like this discussion of terrorist, which is what Gravik will be labeled at some
100%. Yep.
I find that we are too quick to say, well, he's a terrorist, so that's what he is. But I think all of terrorists come out of a grievance. And I think that grievance, if we could understand it better, might help us talk to them before the reaction to their grievance happens. And their grievance always comes out of an environment. And I think us understanding that environment would help us understand and make the world a more protected and better place. And the reason I get academic there is because I think that's what this show does, is it shows us where Gravik came from. His parents were both killed, which we learn in the beginning of episode 2.
Right.
And it made him alone, which is a terrible thing to be. And Nick Fury made him a promise about home, which are all beautiful things that we all want. And then when Nick Fury couldn't fulfill his promise or reneged on his promise, Gravik had a huge grievance. And unlike the way Talos received his grievance, where he continued to work towards coexistence, Gravik said, I'm going to get rid of everything that's keeping me from achieving the promise that Nick Fury made to me. And he becomes that terrible thing. But if we understand it more along the way, his reprehensible acts maybe make us think more and condemn less.
Yes, I think that's kind of it's not a constant through the MCU, but have been villains that kind of challenge I think the audience to think morally about the motives of the villains. And I get where you're coming from with Gravik. I think that there's reason and there's definition that we will obviously explore as we get more episodes. Ali, that's my time. I had a great time just chatting with you really quickly about this. Thank you so much. This show is great. I love the grit. I love the maturity. Looking forward to seeing more.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too, man.